What if your clinic could send personalized emails, track revenue trends, and identify all your top paying patients, all automatically and built specifically for your clinic? In this video, I'm going to show you the exact steps I took to develop a CRM or a customer relationship management tool for a client that could increase their profits by thousands of dollars every year. It's HIPAA compliant, can save your team hours every single week, and on top of that, also recover revenue from those inactive patients. By the end of this video, you'll know how to automate patient reactivation emails, visualize the key financial metrics of your clinic in real time, and also identify your highest value patients. But if you'd like to skip all this technical setup, you could buy my exact code below, or you could schedule a consultation with me to build a customized CRM exactly for your clinic. Here's a problem. Most EHRs built for aesthetic practices store patient data really well, but they don't let you engage with your patients very effectively. There's no way to be able to tell which patients are overdue for their repeat Botox injections or which patients actually need some more medical follow-up and haven't been reminded of those. That's where automation comes in. And so this is the CRM system and UI that we're trying to build here. In the first dashboard, we could see that there's a patient summary of the overall clinic's performance. We could see how many patients there are total, how many are overdue, and then how many cosmetic patients and how many are medical patients. Of course, some of those can be overlapped. And you can also see how much of the clinic revenue is being generated per breakdown of cosmetic, both, or medical only patients. What's also helpful is that we can also take a look at today's appointments, and we can see how many of those patients actually have appointments today, such as pending, which are 24, and then 5, which are confirmed patients, but overall we have 29 patients. So in general, we need 24 reminder texts to be sent out just to remind our patients just to come into clinic and prevent those bookings where that don't go fulfilled. And this is really helpful to be able to automate this also using software such as 8 and 8, but also using the Python code here, we are able to select individual patients and then also send them a reminder text message or a reminder email, which we can also automate as well. In here, we can also see which of the patients are overdue for greater than 1 year. So how many of these patients actually haven't had their Botox or haven't been seen for a year. And so this is able to do some logic to be able to see the appointment last date and then compare it to today and then be able to identify those patients so that we can also send them reactivation emails or customized campaigns or marketing advertising. Before we dive in, let me give you the roadmap of what we're going to be building today, the CRM and the automation system for your clinic that could save your team a lot of hours and also increase your revenue. Here's how it works. Step 1. Get API access to your EHR. This allows you to securely pull patient information from EHRs like Modernizing Medicine, which we'll be using in this video. Step 2. Export patient data to a secure database so that this can be modified more easily and integrated with automation tools in the future. Step 3. Visualize your data with Streamlit. Create interactive charts and dashboards to track key clinic metrics in real time. Step 4. Identify patients for reactivation. Write logic to find patients who are overdue for reactivation, such as over 1 year, and create a dashboard to be able to identify your highest paying patients. Step 5. Connect to texting or email APIs. Examples include Twilio for texting or Brevo for emails to automate reactivation communications. All right, let's dive into step 1. For this video, we're going to be using Modernizing Medicine, which is a EHR that's specifically designed for dermatology, but in general, you'll be able to apply all these steps to regardless of which EHR you're using. Most importantly, you want to start by getting access to an API, which actually allows you to be able to interact with that EHR and actually pull your patient data from it. For Modernizing Medicine, for example, you could get your access to an API here. You're going to apply for sandbox access just for this tutorial, for example. So essentially, you should be able to get a private key ID and then a private key that goes along specifically with your API access credentials. I have blotted them out here. So there's a lot of different types of things that you can do with an API in terms of requesting patient information and patient data. This API documentation can take a long time to read through, but also you can actually use artificial intelligence, AI, LLMs to be able to just condense all this information and be able to understand what kind of request polls and all those sorts of things that you really need. So in order to actually be able to pull the patient information data from your particular EHR, such as Emma, you're going to need one of the API access tools. And each particular EHR API has a different type of format that they would like to have the requests in. For example, this is Emma's API access format. Typically, the data is exported out in a FHIR format, which is a standardized data form, but it's not very easy to read by itself, so it's easier to convert it to a JSON format and then import it into our backend. For this tutorial, we're going to use Google as our backend, and if you're deploying this to an actual clinical practice, be sure to use a HIPAA-compliant database that normally requires a business associate agreement. In order to use Google Sheets, you're going to need to access the Google API, which needs credentials, and you can also access this through the Google Workspace, such as here, and you can also find their API documentation here. So here's a code to actually be able to import those patients. So using Python, we have to get access to our EMA API, which is all available here using our credentials. And then we have to get our patients based off of the API access format. And then we're going to have to import them based off of the Google Sheets. It's also helpful to use your API tool to be able to specifically access what type of visit that the patient was last seen for. For example, we could see if it was for a medical non-emergency, cosmetic services, or if it's for a follow-up patient or a new patient. And this is helpful for whenever we need to see what type of visit that the patient was last seen for so that we can send our reactivation text messages or our further marketing campaigns. So here's the code to be able to actually import those patients. First and foremost, you need to access your API through the EMA credentials that we have here, which is specific to you. And then we then are able to use the API access tool to be able to request all of this different type of information, including the first name, last name of the patient, date of birth, gender, MRN. This may be specific to your EHR in terms of what type of data is actually stored from the demographic standpoint, including such as their phone number versus the home versus mobile and work. Sometimes your EHR may not specify these. After we're able to get all the data out and cleaned, then we're able to put it into the Google Sheets. And so this is taken from the file format to the JSON format, and then this is imported into Google Sheets. And so this is the completed Google Sheet import. For example, we can see that the patient's first name is over here and the last name's over here. We can see when their last visit was, whether it was for a cosmetic procedure or whether it was not, and also what the last prior procedure that was performed. We can also see when the next procedure is scheduled for, such as laser, and we can see when the last reminder text messages were sent and whether it was confirmed or not. And so all this patient data is sample data. This is not PHI. Step 3 is all about visualization. This raw data is great, but it's not very helpful to be able to act upon and be able to interpret. And so Streamlit is a really great way to use Python to be able to present this in a way that's actually actionable and a way for us to view easily. This gives you a centralized dashboard to monitor your clinic's health and make informed decisions. It shows overdue patients and makes an easy automation to send them reminder emails and displays KPIs for your clinic. After connecting our Python code to the Google Sheet with the patient data, we're able to then identify the patients who had their last appointment over 1 year ago based off of the cutoff date, and then sort those patients and put them into a data frame that is just specifically for those overdue patients, including all of their associated demographic information. And this can also help tell us whether or not they're cosmetic or just medical, and then be able to display this as well. We can also include some code to be able to make our UI a little bit prettier, to be able to provide some selection logic, and also be able to select multiple patients versus just sending all of the patient reminder messages as well. It's important that whenever we do send that reactivation text or email, we're actually able to update that Google Sheet so that we're able to provide that information so we don't need to resend reactivation emails or send duplicates, for example. And this is the code to be able to update and append your actual existing Google Sheet. So step 5 is setting up automated communications or actual platforms that you can use to send text messages or emails. Examples of this include Twilio for texting and also Brevo for emails. And so this is a section of code where we'd be able to put that in. And so whenever you hit that button for the reminder text message or that reminder email, it's able to go through. While I won't go into the integration details in this video, these services can be great to be able to help you communicate with your patients more effectively and efficiently, and also in a HIPAA compliant manner. With this system, clinics I've worked with have increased their revenue by thousands of dollars, saved 10 hours of admin work every single week, and have gained valuable insights to better serve and understand their patients. If you want to build this yourself, everything you need is in this video. But if you want to skip all the technical setup, there's 2 options. You can buy my exact code below, or you can set up a consulting call with me to customize the exact solution for your clinic. Click the links below to get started, and make sure to join my free email list for more automation tips and content.